I'm grateful to be here with my sisters today. What's in a name? My mom's name is unusual, and I imagine she often had people comment on it, or ask her how to spell it, or ask her to repeat it. So she was probably more attentive to her name than most people are to their names. I remember being about 19 or 20 years old and asking her if I could call her by her first name. I was kind of surprised when she agreed. I thought she might have considered it to be disrespectful. I think I only used it a few times. It felt awkward, and then I probably forgot. But I was impressed that she allowed that. And then some years later, I was again impressed when she told me that she was going to be reclaiming her maiden name, Bobb, as her middle name. Now, my mom was born in the early 1940s. So keeping your own name when you get married is not a thing that her generation did. But even if she had, not changing your name when you get married is one thing. Deciding years later to take it back is another thing entirely. But she realized that it was something that she wanted, and I think needed, to do. So she took the trouble of going through the legal process, and she wasn't afraid of the impact on other people. I'm sure my dad had to adjust to that change. And even the church had to redo all of their letterhead, all of their materials. This wasn't just a symbolic thing. This was a real change. But I imagine that as she was growing and changing and continuing to know herself over and over time, her name had to change to keep up with who she was becoming. And as I think about who I am and how that continues to evolve over time as I grow, I feel like I'm following the example that my mother set for me about knowing who you are and staying connected to the parts of yourself that you need, even if it's inconvenient sometimes, and even if other people don't always understand. So your name is about identity, but it's also about your role and relationships with people. And just by looking around this room, I see that she had relationships with a lot of people. So if you'll indulge me in a quick roll call, I'd like to just recognize some of the relationships that my mother had with all of you. So if she was your pastor, if you called her Pastor Hyacinth, just wave your hand. Maybe it was before her days as a pastor and you knew her as Sister Grannum. Today I've heard Lady Hyacinth. Wave your hand. If you were working together in ministry with her or in doing good works in the community and you called her Dr. Hyacinth, wave your hand. If she was like a mother to you or was a spiritual mother, wave your hand. If you're family and you called her Mom or Momji or Auntie Hyacinth, wave your hand. Or maybe your family or a close friend of hers and you just called her Hyacinth or even Hi, wave your hand. If you happen to call her Honey, if she's been your sister friend, your best friend, your confidant, your prayer partner, your mentor, wave your hand. And no matter what role she had in your life, if she is someone who you loved and continue to love and will miss, please wave your hand. We love you, Hyacinth. I love you, Mom. Thank you.